Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Stickle. I'm also joined by my colleagues Jim Patterson and Paul Estabrooks. Jim and Paul will be today's presenters and will discuss the topic of lessons learned from our customer journeys to PPM maturity using the Microsoft Project Accelerator and OnePlan. This webinar is a new addition to our series of adaptive webinars, so if you enjoy this video, feel free to watch the others we have available on our channel and look towards the next installment, which we'll be releasing soon. And as always, I hope that today's presentation grants you some insight into the world of project and portfolio management and gets you excited for the new developments happening within the industry and here at OnePlan. Thank you again, and I'll now turn the presentation over to Jim.
Thanks, Robert, and welcome everybody. We're excited to bring you this topic today about some real-life lessons learned from customers that have gone down this road for Microsoft's future with Microsoft Project, with the Project Accelerator, and with OnePlan. Probably the key message, as you see on the slide here, is that it is the future, but the future is here. The future is now, and people are doing it and getting value out of it today. So with that, let's get started. We do this because we are a Microsoft multi-gold certified partner, but our particular passion is really around project and portfolio management, and that's exemplified by the fact that Microsoft has named us their Global Partner of the Year in Project and Portfolio Management multiple times. We get recognized consistently as having thought leadership and good solutions in this area, and recognized by the analysts like Gartner and Infotech and Scaled Agile Inc. for the folks that are doing more agile portfolio management. Now, the future, we talk about where we've been. Microsoft has, for many years now, had Microsoft Project on the desktop, and if people wanted to turn this into a PPM solution, they would enable it along with Project Online. And Project Online provided PPM capabilities in a SharePoint or SharePoint Online foundation. This has been their solution for a number of years, and many people are using it successfully. However, as things are evolving and technology is changing, Microsoft is changing some thoughts on the platform and the modernization of all this and moving where projects going in general. So it comes to a couple different branches here to look at. The one we're going to focus on here today is the move to the new project for the web, the more modern project for the web that's designed for easier access and for the more casual project manager to be productive with it as well. And it's based in a solution that leverages Power Apps, the low-code, no-code platform from Microsoft. We'll talk more about the details around that as part of this webinar. Another path for more professional services organizations, people that have to track time and bill to clients for the services that are providing, is a dynamic solution called Project Operations, which leverages some project for the web for the scheduling pieces of that. But it is a specific use case that maybe doesn't lend itself directly to the more traditional PPM users, the PMOs and more internal IT PMOs and other PMOs within organizations and the needs that they have today. But it is definitely a robust option for the professional services ranks. So this new project for the web, for those of you that may not be aware of it, it does provide a simple and powerful project management tool for everyone. As you see here, it has multiple modes in this animated screen. They have board views that you can work with it more like Planner, but it has scheduling logic and dependencies and other stuff behind it. You can use it in a grid mode like you would in a spreadsheet and update the data, or in a Gantt chart mode or timeline view like you see here. The data is easy to access, all available from your browser, not from a fat client in Windows, and allows you to do all the things that most people are doing within their schedules. The key here is to provide a fresh new experience, to have collaboration made easy, so in the browser, people can actually do things like co-authoring with their peers and their cohorts, and be able to provide just an innovation platform with intelligent planning that people can leverage for a number of different purposes. Now, this new project for the web and this new Microsoft PPM solution that we're going to talk about today is built on the Power Platform. It does leverage things that you may already be using within your organization. Power BI is used for business analytics and reporting and dashboarding. Power Automate is leveraged for workflow automation and business process automation. Power Apps, the low-code, no-code platform where non-developers can actually fashion and build their own applications in that type of environment. And Project for the Web is actually built in this platform. It leverages on the back end a robust database repository called Dataverse, so that everything's available from a common repository, no longer in a SharePoint foundation like Project Online was, but still a robust database repository that's designed for business solution and business application purposes. Now, you can use this in a variety of different ways. You don't have to take it to the nth degree. So there is different levels where people can come in and meet them where they're at, and provide the solutions just enough that you might want. So you might consider taking a more crawl, walk, run approach that we'll go through here now. For example, it is a web-based scheduling tool, Project for the Web is. And individuals might decide to use it as a tool for building their own individual schedules, and they might have one or more individual schedules. And those are by default being saved into this Dataverse repository, but you might use it as your own personal repository to get your schedules out. But if we really want to think this is about a solution for the organization, we got to think beyond that. Because this data is all available to us in Dataverse and it's leveraged on the Power Platform, we can now have solutions in Power Apps that allow us to have a full PPM or portfolio management solution. Basically leveraging the data that's published in from the schedules, but then having so much more available to us for project management and portfolio management beyond just the data elements that we capture in a schedule itself. So not everyone has the appetite to start from scratch in building those Power Apps low-code, no-code solutions. So hence, Microsoft, and actually Microsoft enlisted OnePlan Solutions to develop this, built a pre-built accelerator that has the solution pre-built in Power Apps to leverage those Project for the Web capabilities. And it's called the Project Accelerator. Some people call it the PPM Accelerator. And it provides capabilities beyond just what you'd get from using the scheduling tool aspect of Project for the Web. So what's included in that? Well, if you think about this from more of a crawl perspective, we talked about being able to create projects and build schedules and tasks and stuff within Project for the Web. Here you see in the green. And it will leverage Power BI by default by a natural output and a report pack that gives you reports and dashboards. But what the accelerator provides, it provides, and you'll see this in this kind of purplish color, the Power Apps color, the additional elements that are available to us from the accelerator that it adds just to the schedule component. For example, being able to aggregate your projects into a table of projects or a portfolio of projects in one single view. Be able to aggregate those projects into programs, logically aggregated in the ways that you might want to, and have program level data captured. Be able to have things like issues and risks and change requests, status reports that include objective data as well as narratives. Be able to have KPIs, red, yellow, greens, and even some governance and process around that. And then the reporting side of that stuff, when you use the accelerator, beyond just having the individual project schedule data available to you, it now adds this portfolio level data where you have reporting on things like project requests and portfolio level and program level reporting. So the key here is it provides it more in the context of a solution. So if we think about it that way, in the lower left here, you see Project for the Web, and people would publish those schedules or they'd be automatically saved into Dataverse. They would default automatically appear in a register or portfolio of projects in the Power App PPM Accelerator. And those Power BI reports would be available with all the different dimensions of data available that are being captured within that accelerator, as well as within the schedules within Project for the Web. Now, that may meet the needs of many companies who are looking to do the basics. But as we talk to analysts and we talk to customers out there on a day-to-day basis, critical capabilities for project portfolio management may include more than that. The ones in the blue, they might want to have things like timesheets or time reporting. They might want to have more detailed financial planning and tracking. They might want to do more time-phased resource capacity planning. They might want more advanced project portfolio management, including things like prioritization and what if scenario modeling, et cetera. And for those folks, we extend the accelerator with OnePlan, with capabilities that are designed to plug right into that accelerator and just extend it without really much to do at all other than enabling it. So if we look at the elements and the building blocks to the right that we had in the prior screen of what's available in the base PPM accelerator, and we add these OnePlan components into there. For example, we have a strategy layer, so we can do strategic execution as well as strategic alignment with our projects. There's advanced portfolio management capability that allows us to do modeling and scenario what ifs. prioritization methods that are tailorable within the solution to allow us to help on that intake and request process to better assess what we should be working on and when. More detailed financial tracking and time phase data, as well as resource capacity planning, both from the top down, from a true capacity plan, and more bottom up that's coming from the schedules, for example, to compare those things. And then down at the bottom in the blue, in the OnePlan color, there's also a My Work where people can go to update in one place all the tasks and work elements that have been assigned to them, as well as a timesheet for folks that need that so they can record time against their projects and or their tasks on their projects. So this really extends it to the next level in this walk phase, taking the base accelerator and adding additional capabilities into that solution based on the requirements and the needs of customers. Now, when we look at OnePlan and we look at it in the context of that accelerator in the Power Apps, we start bringing to life things like more, let's just say, advanced portfolio views and what if scenario capabilities, resource capacity planning with good visuals, detailed financial tracking by cost categories and cost types, being able to track things like CapEx and OpEx delineations, et cetera. And also being able to work schedules and things like waterfall plan schedules on the left, or maybe their own backlogs and sprint-based plans on the right side of this, using either the OnePlan capabilities or bringing in the data from Project for the Web and or maybe Azure DevOps if you're using that for your Agile tool, possibly even Jira. And then that concept of a My Work area there in the lower left, where an individual contributor or user can go in and see what's on their plate, see what the priorities are, be able to provide status, updates, comments, and notes against those tasks, and have that feedback to the project manager as they work through this process, as well as potentially a timesheet if the organization needs require that. And then Insights AI is really a homepage that provides an individual user the insights into what requires their attention, what's falling off track, what's becoming due, what conversations are there, what are the projects I'm actively working on so I get directly to them, for example, without having to navigate through an entire portfolio. These are the kind of things that OnePlan adds to the mix when you add it to the accelerator. So on top of that, there is this whole concept of a tool of choice for full adaptive PPM. Adaptive PPM is coined by the analysts and actually by OnePlan itself, is the idea we might have multiple methodologies, we might have multiple execution tool sets that are feeding into the mix. For example, the accelerator is built strictly for Project for the Web as its scheduling tool. Well, what if people, and look on the right-hand side here, want to still use Project Desktop and all its robust capabilities in Project Professional? What if people have Agile tools like Azure DevOps or Jira? How do we bring that into the mix? Well, OnePlan, by bringing that into the context here, we have connectors that bring those into the portfolio and allow us to use a tool of choice for what we want to use for the execution tools in that mix, as well as for people that may want to use OnePlan's native tools themselves. And these integrations are not custom coding that we're doing for people. We have a connector platform for OnePlan that allows us with productized connectors, and we have just popular demand for Azure DevOps and Jira. For Microsoft Project or Project for the Web or Office 365 Planner to bring those in to the planning mix and be able to connect to things like financial management systems, service management systems, CRM systems for professional services, and even other ideation tools people are using. The key is these are productized connectors that allow you to readily plug those things in and leverage it in your solution. So with that context, we thought today would be a good day to show you what we've done with some individual customers. And we're going to outline 3 today. And I'm going to hand it over to Paul Estabrooks, who's going to give us some stories on what they're doing with it and how they've implemented these things and to what degree they've leveraged the capabilities that are available between the Project Accelerator and OnePlan.
Perfect, Jim. I'll get you to go to the next slide. So first one we're going to talk about is Albany International. So Albany is deployed the accelerator. So it's the, in Jim's slides, it's the crawl scenario, if you will. So Albany is a global manufacturing business. They specifically do cloth belts that are used in paper product manufacturing and so forth. Fairly large company, and they are heavily invested in the Microsoft technology stack. You'll sort of see that as a bit of a running theme. So Jim, let's just go to the next slide and we'll get into sort of the scenario. So with each of these customers, we're going to talk through what were they trying to accomplish, where are they now, a little graphic on what that looks like, and then what do they want to do in the future. So for Albany, this is a common story we see with a lot of customers. They tried some different tools over the last few years. They also had a scenario where project managers were not full-time. You'll see that in the next one as well. And that's, again, something we see a lot with our customers as they're trying to reach out for an enterprise tool. Is not everyone they want to engage as a full-time PM. And that's part of Microsoft's vision around Project for the Web and the Accelerator, is to try and reach out to those audiences who want to manage tasks and projects, but aren't necessarily steeped in that technology or deep in that skill set, and don't necessarily need the full richness of things like Project Pro. So this was the case here. They wanted to do some simple work management, but they wanted to get that visibility and that cohesion of all that information. So because they're on the Microsoft platform, this is something they wanted to look at. So they chose Project for the Web, and then they added in the Accelerator to give them some of the functionality that they were looking for, project metadata, status reports, and so on. So we'll jump to the next slide, Jim, just to look at. So where they are today, I think this is kind of interesting, is they're fully leveraging the Accelerator. They're supporting around 800 projects and 200 users, which is a large user count for that platform. It's fantastic to see that. So they continue to sort of build that out. They've done some things for their own. So they're starting to realize the value of where the Accelerator got them, and now what they can do is they sort of build off of it. And so the next slide looks at, and Jim showed this slide a few minutes ago. So, you know, I put this in here just so you could see that literally they're using that out of the box scenario that Jim talked through 10 or so minutes ago around the Accelerator, and these are their components. So they've not deviated from this, at least not yet. So far, they have found the value that they need out of the Accelerator itself, and they are realizing Microsoft's vision in doing so. So last slide on Accelerator. So where are they going in the future? You'll see this theme come up a lot, is more reporting and leveraging Power BI. They're also watching to see where Microsoft's going to go in terms of Teams integration in the Task Fabric and Task App. So they've got some goals to get that more into Teams and leverage more of that. Again, leveraging that Microsoft infrastructure. And you'll see this as a common theme, sort of continuing to take advantage of the data they now have in Power BI. Next one is Wahl. So the Wahl, they do clippers for well, people and animals and so forth. They're very large. The business has been around forever. So if you want to just kind of bounce to the next slide or two there, Jim. So they're the world leader in this. And here's where they are. They were looking for kind of getting off of what they were doing in the past, but they had a very hybrid work environment. They want to be able to access this from anywhere and collaborate. And so, again, the Accelerator and Project for the Web made a lot of sense. It fit their commitment to the Microsoft model already. And they had, again, that story of a lot of casual PMs. So they wanted to be able to bring something to them that met them where they were, gave them value without burdening them with a lot of complexity. But they also had a second requirement, that they had strategic initiatives that they wanted to be able to manage in greater detail. And for that, they wanted to use some of the stuff that Jim just showed you with OnePlan. And lastly, again, that theme of Power BI and the ability to do reporting across all of it. So where they are today is they've done their initial implementation, they're doing a lot of training, and now they're trying to widen to a broader business audience. And we'll show the graphic of what this one looks like. It's a bit of a different spin. And when I do a demo in a few minutes, won't quite get to this scenario, but something similar. They leverage the Accelerator as it is out of the box for the most part to execute on the collaborative work they need to do across the organization. But projects that reach a strategic level, they sort of kick them up above that dotted line, if you will, and they manage them using some of the capabilities in OnePlan that they need: prioritization, connection to tools like Project Desktop, doing some richer resource capacity and financial planning. So they have this sort of duality of their world. For a lot of their projects, all they need is that collaborative component and that collaborative platform, and that's what they use. But for ones that they want to do greater scrutiny on or greater structure, they move them up to OnePlan and execute them there, but they can report across all using Power BI. So where they want to go in the future is continue to drive adoption, more training, and continue to look for more opportunities to manage the strategic stuff and execute it with OnePlan as they intend. So it's a long, slow rollout there. Third one we'll look at is Technicolor, large company in the media and digital video components and so forth for home and theater. We've all sort of seen them if we've ever watched a movie. So interesting business objective here. They needed to get off of Project Server 2013. They also had a requirement to bring a couple of different groups together, not all of which were in Project Server. Some were on tools like Jira, you'll see sort of further down on this slide. So they needed to get better visibility of budget consumption and so forth and status across these different groups. Plus they also had an end of life scenario with Project Server 2013 that they wanted to address. And they wanted to bring forward a modern user experience and improve their reporting. There comes that theme again of reporting and getting better at that as well, and into a common platform. So where are they today? They've moved most of their key stuff off of Project Server 2013. They've also integrated with Jira. So we'll see that in the next slide in terms of how we've structured things in OnePlan. But this goes back to Jim's run slide, where that multi-tool of choice scenario, and this is where this comes into play. They're leveraging Power Automate to connect to a bunch of other systems and bring in additional data. They also invoke and use the Azure Data Lake because of the sheer volume of data that they wanted to report on. And we've created a custom app for them inside Teams to do some time sheeting. So again, leveraging that Microsoft platform in new and creative ways to get the data we need and engage the audience where they are, and then using other apps to enable user management, because we've obviously got hundreds and thousands of people around the world, and we need to be able to manage who has access to what. So we were able to build that as well. Again, leveraging the Microsoft platform. So here you can see a much more complex hamburger slide, if you will, where they are leveraging Power Apps and that concepts of where Microsoft's going, but they've also layered into this some of the core OnePlan components and brought into play that ability to connect to a variety of tools, Project Desktop, OnePlan's own work planner, as well as Jira, to manage projects in different formats based on the audience, yet engage them back in the core. And so they've got collaboration in Teams, as I mentioned, with the timesheet app that they did, and really powerful reporting, and they continue to invest there. So where they want to go in the future is, again, look at ways to enhance that user experience through Power Apps and Teams. So this is something we see with a lot of our clients that have gone down this road, is once they get into this platform, they start to identify other ways that other bits of data, business processes they can engage or improve, or bring that data into the project world for execution to help with strategy planning and so forth. So it continues to grow and evolve as they do. So you can see that here. And then they've got lots of big plans for how they want to use Power BI, because they've got all of this rich data that they're tracking, and they have that complete picture. So I'm going to jump over to a demo, Jim. So I'll take control of the screen here. There we go, show my screen. So what I thought I'd do, now that we've kind of walked through those three scenarios, is kind of see a little bit about how each of them looks in real life. So right now I'm logged into the accelerator. This is the accelerator without any sort of real additional configuration. This is what Albany's using, and in large part is what Wahl is using too. So I have my ability to create project requests as a Power App and a user experience. I have this opening dashboard with some rich data. I could define a program. So what are the sort of how I want to organize the projects that I'm doing, and I can create this idea of a bucket or a program, and the program can have an owner. It can have all of that type of information. So if I just jump in here quick, it can have a budget, it can have a status, and it can have projects that make up that particular program. So that's some capability, frankly, that Project Online never really had well. And so we can do this sort of bucket and define a group of projects into a program and manage my programs with ownership and all the rest of it. But in the project space, this is literally what some of these organizations are using, is I have an opening page, I have my business case, again, all configurable within the accelerator. And then when I want to manage tasks, I'm going to manage them using Project for the Web. So the accelerator ties to Project for the Web. And here are my projects. Let's get rid of that. And I have my tasks in here. And if you've seen Project for the Web, you can turn those around and look at them in a board rather, or you can do sort of a conventional Gantt chart here. Sorry, let me scroll the task. There we go. So we can see that. So I'm managing my project. Fair amount of capability here. But then what the accelerator brings to bear is this idea using Power Apps that I can track risks and issues and any change requests I might have, or I can create a status report and manage that. And this is where that data is coming from that these organizations are used to report on. They want to be able to see a complete picture. So if I just go back to my overall project screen and I see all of this rich data, what's the budgets and so forth, what are the dates, what's on track and what's not, I have a complete view. And in the case of Albany, 800 projects worth of data here to work on, and then I can report on this and drill into it as needed. So that's the accelerator. I won't dive into it in a ton of detail, but that's the rich capability. That's sort of the starting block. That's that crawl scenario where you can get started in PPM. Now with a flip, one switch here, I'm going to add in the OnePlan components. So seamlessly, we've embedded OnePlan's capabilities inside the accelerator. And right off the bat, this left navigation changed. I could look at what's been assigned to me in my work and do some resource planning and resource management off my work. Likewise, so I could come in here and see I've got lots of overdue tasks in here, and I could update those. If we had timesheeting turned on, you could do timesheeting within the accelerator, and we've had a number of clients over the last couple of years do that. They like the accelerator, but this is a component they needed, which was timesheeting. Likewise, I have those projects and programs, but now I can go to another level in that I can analyze them and make prioritization decisions. Which projects am I going to do, and so forth. So if I just jump in into project prioritization, I won't spend a ton of time here, but I could start to move projects up and down based on a priority score if I'd calculated one, and so forth. Some of them in here do have scores. And then I can start to look at things based on budget. So I'm just going to jump to data here. Just give me one quick second. So I could do this and say, what was my budget? Where am I? And start to do some analysis and planning around this side of the organization. So I'm still in the accelerator, but we've brought in those other components. We've brought in the ability to define, and I should show that here quickly while I'm here. If I just jump into one of these, we've brought in this ability to do a resource plan and see where would I need resources, and what other sort of competing interests are there for them. You can see if you hover over that, there's an over allocation. And likewise with a budget. This is the budget. This is the budget that's being used in that prioritization. So we've brought in financials, resource plans, as well as prioritization, which was in Jim's slide, as well as the timesheets in my work. And that additional data is now also available in Power BI to do even richer reporting on our PMO and how we're performing and how we're completing the tasks before us as we sort of try and deliver value. So the third scenario, jump to another browser here just quickly. The third scenario, let me go to home to sort of start this. This is a solution similar in nature to what Technicolor is doing in a lot of our clients. It's still in the Power Apps platform, but now we've brought in all kinds of capabilities. We've added in objectives and key results, the ability to come in and define a strategy for the organization. What are our objectives? And just like that program interface a few minutes ago, what are the key results that we're linking to those? And so forth. And what are the initiatives that are tied to that particular objective? Okay, so all of that data that I want to be able to track in here, I could track through and link my strategy to my organization. I can start to sort of group that and organize it. Here we go. This will show us what we want. So you can see how I have my objectives, and underneath that I have key results, and then I can link those to what are the projects we're going to do to accomplish that. Likewise, in here, we might do things like a much more robust demand management exercise where we run campaigns or ideas or challenges that lead to requests. And using Power Apps, we have less rich user experience. We've then brought in the concept now of portfolios, programs, and projects. So that ownership of a set of programs down to the ownership all the way down to projects, and that same analyzer. And when I click on the analyzer here, you'll see that third piece of this that Jim talked about in that last slide in the run scenario. Now you can see the different tools in play. We have this project that is in Project Professional, but also has a team site. This one's in Jira, Project Pro. This one is in Planner. If I scroll down, here's one in Project for the Web. Here's one that's in DevOps. So we're bringing all of those tools into a common place. And in here, with any one of these, I can do that same financial planning, that same resource planning that we wanted to do, we showed a minute ago. So if I just click on project we use a lot, this project is connected to Teams, to Project, and to DevOps. So here's my budget. Here's my details page. With all of the information, I can link it to strategy and so forth. It's got a governance structure. It's got a SharePoint site. It's also got a team site. So it's plugged into all of those core collaboration tools, my budget, my resource plan, lots of resources that I'm trying to manage and where are they and who's available. And now if I jump over to the work plan, instead of it just being project for the web, in this particular case, I'm linked to Project Pro. And this is my project schedule. And if I look at it and expand it out, you can see tasks assigned to resources, some are overdue, some are done, and so forth. But if I flip this really quickly to the backlog, it is also connected to Azure DevOps, and we're bringing data in from there. So it's a hybrid project inside of a hybrid environment. It's adaptive inside of adaptive, if you will. And so right here inside Power Apps, and this is kind of the vision that Technicolor and so many other clients have. In their case, it was Jira. They had projects that are coming from Jira. They had projects in Project Pro. They had projects they wanted to use our work planner and so forth. And they brought them all together where they can do these core components of planning out the budget and tracking it, planning resource requirements and so forth, and capturing actuals. In their case, they use timesheets in Teams, but you can do that right here inside this solution as well. So we bring all of that together. So starts with that accelerator. And as Albany showed, you can go quite a ways with the accelerator. And that was what I showed you first. Wahl went a little bit further and sort of combined the accelerator with components in OnePlan because they wanted to track certain things that were above and beyond the accelerator, some of the components that we add, and Jim showed those in the slides. And then in the third scenario, in these enterprise scenarios, they wanted to bring disparate groups together with different methodologies and different tools, yet be able to sort of align to a set of corporate strategies, be able to do timesheeting across it all, and be able to bring all of that information together to get a common view of budgets and resource requirements. And we did all of that using Power Apps and OnePlan, so the completion of the Microsoft vision. And now in every one of these cases, they have the opportunity to take Power Apps and do other things with it, and continue to grow, add new OnePlan functionality, as well as new Power Apps, and engage the business in new and creative ways. And Jim, with that, I'll turn it back to you.
All right, so let's summarize and then talk about some next steps. We saw a lot of different use cases, incrementally using some of the base offerings and some extended offerings between Microsoft and OnePlan. And hopefully it, stirred up your imagination of what's possible. And that's what's already here today. Now you might be asking yourself, how do I get from point A to point B, where I'm at today versus, getting into one of these solutions that you've seen? We do offer a migration workshop for people if they want to have us help them walk through current state, current tool sets, current systems, what the future state would look like, and the tool sets and the capabilities that you'd want, and then what it would take to get there and migrate data over to those. We do these for a number of customers, and it takes some of the mystery out of that for them, and they may find out they even own a lot of the capabilities that they want already to make this happen. So that is one thing that we can help you with. Also, we do offer free trials. If you go up to Microsoft's App Source and you want to try the adaptive PPM or OnePlan pieces, you can actually work with that and right within your environment and stand up an adaptive portfolio management or other use cases, just strategic portfolio management. We have an agile portfolio management template, as well as one for professional services automation. But probably the most popular and full functioning one we have here is this adaptive project and portfolio management that you might want to look at. We're happy to support you and assist you as you want to get the most out of this trial experience. We give webinars very frequently, mostly weekly, and we've got a couple coming up the next couple weeks, really moving into the future direction of where PPM is going into more of strategic portfolio management. That's where the folks like Gartner and Forrester are saying the world is going. It's not throwing out what we've done with PPM, but it's really expanding the dimensions of what's being factored in and what's included in a portfolio management process. And next week, we've got what's the new role of the EPMO, which is also a trend, consolidating and moving into more of an EPMO model. Learn how to plot your journey into strategic portfolio management. And then the following week, achieve better business outcomes with effective strategic portfolio management. So if you're interested in this topic, just go to oneplan.ai/webinars and register the way you did for this one here. So this free trial, we not only have the OnePlan trial, but we also have a trial environment with the Power Apps set up with the Accelerator if you wanted to get a look and feel for that. And we're happy to support you through that process as well and give you access. The roadmap workshop we can provide, as well as a personalized one-on-one demo for more deep demonstrations around your use cases and your particular pain points. Paul gave a very high level one today, but we can definitely get down to your specific needs in one of those, and we're happy to schedule that with you. Just reach out to us at contact@oneplan.ai. For more information on the accelerator, we also have a special URL for ppmaccelerator.com you might want to check out as well. So I'd like to thank you again for investing your time with us today. We are also invested. We're invested in your success as a customer, and we'd really love to engage with you and help you get you to where you want to be and have the benefits of solutions like this. Reach out to us at contact@oneplan.ai, or feel free to reach out to Paul or I directly if you care to. You'll be getting a copy of these slides and a link to the recording of this webinar, usually within 24 hours. So once again, have a great day, and we hope to hear from you soon.